All right, Daniel. So we're trying to figure out which tensioners to use that's going to give Daniel the best ability to properly grasp and pick up a small object and let go of it. Daniel, your grip is not terribly strong, so go ahead and squeeze so we can see. So we're halfway there, getting a little half of a fist, and then relax and try to open. And we don't have the finger extension. So when I'm thinking about tensioners and tensioner placement, yes, in a perfect world, each joint would have a tensioner, just like the photo on the manual, but that's not always the case. So when you're weak, you don't need to have an O-ring tensioner on every joint. In fact, there's some fingers that won't have a tensioner at all. And same thing goes for the thumb. So obviously, here's your tensioner kit. You have small ones, and they progressively get larger. So when I'm working on the tensioners for the fingers, I typically use the smallest one. And if I'm gonna go across the knuckle, I'll either use the second smallest one or the third, and that will go right across. And then for the thumb, it's gonna be one of these two large ones. But again, you're not gonna need all the tensioners for all of the joints. And so for example here, step one is to get the middle, the large knuckle up and back. So I'm going to use that second tensioner, that second largest one, and just pull it back. I can choose from here or go higher to the most proximal hook. If I pull it back even further, that's going to give it more tension, and that's going to make it into more extension. But since Daniel has a weak grip, I'm going to start at the first hook, which will allow him to bend his fingers. So we're going to do that for the pointer finger. We're going to do that for the middle finger, and maybe even do it for the ring. We'll see how he behaves there with his fingers. I'm not even going to address the pinky at this point. Now, because I don't need to worry, he doesn't have a full finger flexion, that last joint's not going to bend. I'm not going to go ahead and do a tensioner for the last joint, which is the DIP joint. I'm just going to take now the smallest O-ring and put it over the middle joint. So I have one there. I'll do the middle finger. And again, if he has a hard time squeezing, I'm going to remove this O-ring. And I'll do one for the ring finger. Okay. And then finally, for the thumb, I want to get the thumb back, but I want to make sure he can grasp and actually pick something up. So I can't have it too tight. So the last two O-rings, the largest ones, I'll take one of the larger ones, either the largest or the second largest, and I'll just hook it back here. So then it keeps the thumb open and out of the way. And then finally, when you take your colorful block, you then go have Daniel try to pinch or grab. You can see he can come down and grab. His middle knuckle is not really bending much, so I definitely don't want to add another O-ring. And I certainly don't need one at the last joint because that doesn't, his last joint's not bending in. So we know he's in a good spot there. So we'll just have him go grab, pinch, and then he can release it when he wants to release it. So that's how you would adjust these different tensioners, and you can modify them as needed.